Nobody wants to see the Marvels. So here is some footage from Infinity War and Endgame, including that scene because... girls.
I am inevitable. There will always be more to finish my work.
This is just the beginning.
Look, it's female Thanos.
She's destroying every place I call home.
Just like Thanos.
Taking powers from this.
Just like Thanos.
If I don't fix this, it will be the end of everything. You got this.
Yes, Brie, you got this.
I'm asking
Monica!
for one last fight.
And one last profitable Marvel movie. The Marvels. It's basically Endgame with girls.
The Marvels, rated PG-13, in theaters November 10th. Get tickets now.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and absolutely brutal news for the Marvels. It's already the most protected film in recent history. The fact that they won't let critics even tell you about the movie until the day before it comes out. Well, guess what? I've talked to people who've actually seen the movie. I know exactly what the post-credit scenes are. They aren't what people think they are, and later in the video I'll mention it, but I'll give you a warning if you actually do want to be surprised by it. And I'll actually have some actual positive things to say about the movie. But first, absolutely brutal news. The Marvel's entire plot allegedly revealed, explains that Captain Marvel destroyed the Kree homeworld. This is also what I heard from my insiders who've seen the movie and have proved they've seen the movie. YouTuber Mr. H Review shared a major plot detailing the upcoming Marvels film after Marvel Studios attempted to frame the film as featuring the next Thanos-level threat, with clips from the Avengers Endgame. Except the fact is, the big bad in this movie is completely pointless and will never be seen again in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that's for later in the video. Upon viewing the clip, Mr. H asserted that, you see how they're framing it? They're framing it like there will always be a Thanos. She's the new Thanos, girl Thanos, right? You know, the Denbar character, proper Thanos-level threat. That's very much misleading, hugely. In fact, I'm going to reveal what exactly happens in the movie. Mild spoilers coming up. Again, this is what was leaked. I wouldn't worry too much about it because I don't suspect many of you want to pay to see this movie. Dar-Ben is a character that Carol is obsessed with. Carol's obsessed with her. It made clear that Carol does not trust Dar-Ben. And it's also made very clear that Carol isn't wrong for mistrusting her because she is the villain, which you've seen in the trailer. He then reveals that Dar-Ben is the leader of the Kree. She's not the leader of a side faction or anything like that. In flashbacks, we see Dar-Ben witnessing Carol going after the Supreme Intelligence. That Dar-Ben's villain origin story, the Kree refer to Carol as the Annihilator or something along those lines. That's correct. I also heard the Annihilator. She obviously does not like that name. Dar-Ben has one of the bangles that Kamala has. Kamala. So Kamala has the other, no specific way or explanation on how Dar-Ben gets it. Apparently she's using it, however, to power a weapon. She needs both bangles eventually. And I won't go through every little thing, but I will tell you this. There are good parts of this movie. Some of the action scenes are okay. The first act of the movie, from what I've heard, is actually very tolerable. And Kamala Khan is likable. That's the Miss Marvel character. The problem is, if you didn't watch Miss Marvel on Disney Plus, which hardly anyone did, you won't know anything about it. So if you actually want to watch the Marvels, you're going to have to watch Miss Marvel because she's essentially the star of this film, what I hear. It's not even Brie Larson's movie anymore. She's pushed to the back. On top of that, I'm also hearing that there is a feminist Utopia island, a matriarchy, where women run everything, and the only language that they can understand, now this is what I'm hearing, is singing. So everyone has to sing, and if you don't sing it, then they don't understand what you're saying. It's the dumbest thing. Like, it literally has a feminist Utopia planet. I don't know what else to tell you. Now, again, I understand that I'm a curmudgeonly old man and that this movie is not quote unquote for me. And I suspect the 14-year-old girls who this movie is for will enjoy that. But it is full on, as several insiders told me, full on MCU, including one of the post-credit scenes, which is even more hilarious. Now, I'm not going to reveal some of the more specific plot points, but the idea that there's this matriarchy island, there's basically rainbows everywhere. All the men are soy and creepy. And like, Brie has this like weird green card husband, allegedly. It's insane. Of course, this on top of, Thanos' return and desperate attempt to save Brie Larson's Marvel. I don't know necessarily about that, but I do know, I didn't hear anything about that in the people that I talked to that saw the movie, but it also says, and we're going to get to the post-credit stuff in a second, the Marvels could be shaping up to be an epic box office bomb for Marvel Studios. This is as of yesterday, box office tracking for the Marvels pointed to a disappointing opening weekend for the Nia DaCosta helmed Captain Marvel sequel. Remember, Nia DaCosta said she's out. She's not doing any more Marvel movies, and I wonder why that might be. I wonder why that might actually be the case. Some analysts believe that between $55 and $75 million domestic debut will actually be closer to 45. Look, 55 million opening would be devastating, okay? The Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which most people say paid to see, but in general, the people that saw it weren't like blown away by it or anything. That made 75 million, and it was also available on the same day on streaming. If a Marvel movie, let's just say it isn't as bad as 45 million, if it makes 50 million, 55 million, 60 million, that is a spectacular flop. Nobody should be pretending like they think this movie is going to make $1 billion. I think if the Marvels made 600 to 700 million, Disney would probably be happy with it. This doesn't necessarily spell disaster for the film, as major studio tentpoles often do a lot better than predicted, and positive reviews should also help. That's the thing, though. Why aren't they if they think the movie is great, why aren't they letting them release the reviews early? Right? The thing is here, in reality, I'm being kind to the Marvels. The real number is closer to 45 million opening, but I'm not going that low because it has every single IMAX and PLF to help it. Either way, it's extremely bad, and it's going to be an epic bomb. Hearing it isn't any good either. Now, from what I heard from people that saw the film, it's wildly uneven. You can tell that there's an enormous amount of stuff that hit the cutting room floor, and it's just disjointed. There are good moments. It has a lot of the wacky, lull, so random stuff that we all love, but it's not good. Unfortunately, they continue, the numbers I'm seeing aren't far off from Empire City's box office. At this point, they write, matching the Eternals box office run feels like a best case scenario. Marvel's also screening it later than usual, which worries me from a quality perspective. Again, bringing up the fact that they are not allowed to, screen anything from it. There was this unimaginable. It looked like an okay fight scene that leaked on Twitter yesterday, but the music was so bad. I think ultimately this does not bode well. Every one of these people have me blocked. I wonder why. Now on to some of the post-credit nonsense. There have been a lot of rumors that there would be some kind of awesome, epic X-Men tie-in, that they were going to bring back, Kelsey Grammer's Beast. Well, if they do that, it's going to happen after. They're going to put it in the movie after the people who screened it just a few days ago. According to all of my sources, there's absolutely no return of Kelsey Grammer's Beast in the post-credits. In fact, one of the post-credit scenes features Ironheart, I've been told, the lady, the POC girl that's going to replace Iron Man. in a full-blown MCU where they're essentially recruiting for an all-female Avengers. And, I am not hearing, anything about X-Men or a Deadpool tie-in. These are all like weird, like lies, unless if the movie comes out next week and Marvel sneaks in a different post-credit scene. The other post-credit scene, what I'm told, is related to Monica Rambeau, and it's supposed to be this big shocker. I'm not going to go into very specifics, but again, has nothing to do with Deadpool or X-Men or Thanos or any of that kind of stuff. And it also further cements Brie Larson as kind of the evil character. Princess Brie Larson, Carol has already been to Aldana, and doesn't want to go back because she's the princess married to a prince in an ancient diplomatic mistake, essentially like a green card marriage, or like when LGBTQ people used to marry straight people for insurance or whatever, like when they couldn't marry and that kind of stuff. That's how it reads. That's how I'm told it went. Everyone on that planet sings as a way of communicating. Again, Brie Larson apparently sings. Who doesn't want singing in the, who doesn't want their Marvel movies to be musicals? She actually does have a lovely voice, but it's an awful sequence overall. They realize that the planet is Darben's next target, and they have to go there to help fight her to protect the planet to stop the rampage. Again, it is not boding well at all. I could definitely see this being the absolute last we see of Captain Marvel, the absolute last we see of Carol Danvers for a long time. The idea that this movie is so piss poor, there are elements to it though that even people, like I said, the people that saw it, who seem to be writing about it, things like that, they said it wasn't the worst movie they've ever seen. Like, it was like a 4 or a 5 out of 10, maybe even a 3 in some cases, but not necessarily the absolute worst movie they've ever seen, especially if you're in kind of that teen, YA audience, which is what they're clearly trying to target with this. I don't recommend this movie to anyone who isn't a fan of, Miss Marvel. If you're a fan of Miss Marvel, you're probably going to like it. But we'll see if that's enough to carry it through the box office. I suppose we're going to find out very, very soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like down below. And if you haven't yet, please do subscribe or follow. It would mean the world to me. We'll talk to you again real soon.